deportation is not a punishment. This is just a clear holding by the Supreme Court. We are just basically taking people that have no right to be here and moving them outside of the country. That's not a punishment for a crime. That's just moving people around who do not belong here.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford. I'm here with commentary editor Conn Carroll. Conn, there's a popular narrative out there, particularly in the media, that Trump isn't actually doing that many deportations, not even that much more than Biden or Obama. But you wrote a piece about why that's dumb. Why?
I don't know if dumb is the right word, but it is a false narrative. And the reason is you have to look between what most people commonly think of as deportations, which is immigration agents going to somebody's house in the United States, going and taking an illegal immigrant and then deporting that country. That's what most people think of deportations. But those are classified as interior deportations because they take place in the interior of the United States.
Makes sense.
Whereas when you look at most deportations that happened under both Obama and Biden, they were actually deportations that were done by Border Patrol at the border. So this would be someone illegally crossing the border. They're someone from Mexico or someone from an easy deportable country where the Border Patrol could easily put them in what's called expedited removal and deport them to the country. Even though that person never really sets foot inside the United States, the ICE still counts that as a deportation. So when you read those headlines about Biden is deporting more people than Trump or Obama deporting more people than Trump, it's only because they're cooking the books by counting those deportations that take place at the border. When you look at the interior deportations, Trump was deporting about double the amount of people every year that Biden did. When you look at Obama's numbers, you see something very interesting. When Obama first took office, ICE was deporting about 130, sometimes 100,000 illegal immigrants from the interior of the country every year. He was doing great. But then in 2014, right after the amnesty bill failed, DHS Secretary Jay Johnson issues a new memo setting new deportation priorities for ICE. And the deportations just fall off the cliff. They dropped 40,000, and so that Obama was only deporting about 60,000 people a year by the time Trump took office. Trump then boosted those numbers back up to about 90,000, but then Biden comes back in and they fall all the way down to like 30,000. And so you have Biden just completely cleared out the ability of ICE to deport people. And now Trump's trying to build it back. Judges
are blocking different types of deportations all across the country for a variety of different reasons. The most notable one is that a judge recently, just this week, blocked the deportation of the family of the suspected firebomber who targeted Jewish people and who was in the United States illegally, as was, according to your favorite, Stephen Miller, the rest of his family. So what do you make of the legal rationale for blocking all of these deportations? Are they all created equal, or do they have some good gripes and some bad ones?
It really depends on the case. In this case, though, these people need to go home. They all of them entered on tourist visas in 2022. And when you come into the country on a tourist visa, they ask you questions like, do you plan to stay here indefinitely, or are you just going to be here for 6 months? These people obviously lied because the father, as soon as he gets here, applies for asylum. Like, he didn't all of a sudden come here and then have like
Is it legal to apply for asylum if you're here on a tourism visa?
Well, it depends on the case, but if you come in and you immediately apply for asylum, that means you lied about why you were coming to the country in the first place. You're not coming here as a tourist if you immediately come here to apply for asylum. And more importantly, he's the only one that has applied for asylum. The other members of his family have not. So all of their tourist visas expired back in 2023. They are all in the country here illegally. There's no one disputes this. So it is perfectly within the rights of the Department of Homeland Security to use expedited removal to send them home as quickly as possible.
So let me sort of drill down on this, because a lot of what the judges are objecting to when Trump is trying to deport people is that there's not enough due process being done. And I wonder if that term is getting thrown around improperly sometimes, because what due process looks like in these deportation cases, right, is not what it looks like in a criminal domestic context.
And the Supreme Court has been very clear about this. Due process within deportation proceedings is nowhere near the same thing as in criminal proceedings. Deportation is not a punishment. This is just a clear holding by the Supreme Court. We are just basically taking people that have no right to be here and moving them outside of the country. That's not a punishment for a crime. That's just moving people around who do not belong here. And the Supreme Court has been very clear that they are due some amount of process, but just enough to make sure that they're here illegally and that they are heading home.
And so once those facts are established, they should be able to be removed, right?
Get them out.
But you're seeing in some of those cases that are judges kind of inventing some new layers of due process for these. I mean, why are there so many objections about due process when a lot of those facts have been established in these cases?
So when you look at something like the Alien Enemies Act, right? Okay. So this is a case where you have a power that is being asserted that normally is not asserted when the country is not at war. Okay.
Right.
And so in that case, the courts definitely have the right to look at and say, look, is the White House, is the Department of Homeland Security properly asserting this deportation power that they don't normally have? And so that would be a case where the court could, through habeas, say, no, we do need to look into more of the judicial authority behind this.
What about the case of the migrants who were in the country, not only in the country illegally, but then had also committed murder or other violent crimes, who were being sent to South Sudan, and a judge determined they didn't receive enough due process? What do you make of that case?
Also completely ridiculous. There's no right to choose which country we deport you to. If you come into our country, we can deport you wherever you want, and you don't have the right to choose which country we send you to.
So is the Supreme Court eventually going, you think, set
They're going to have to.
These courts
They're
straight
have to. Enough
at some point?
Enough of these cases are going to get to them where they're going to have to do it, yes.
Okay, well, sorry, Conn, for making this very long on my own personal learning journey, but thank you so much for being here. You can get more writing from Conn and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.